want some kind of fame or whatever, and I wanted to start up a Twitch channel where I can talk to indie developers and help people get to know those developers. So, what better place to start than with somebody that's probably the most influential indie developer out there right now, and possibly ever, and god damn it, I hope ever. Edmund McMillen and Danielle McMillen. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. I hope you're not overselling it.
I
This is so awful because if we weren't sick, I know we would already be killing it.
Yeah.
well, of course. I mean, by killing it, though, what exactly do you mean?
I would have told like 10 jokes already.
You're probably right. So I've been hyping this thing all day because I've been overly excited, and everybody keeps on going, hey, can you ask Ed about Afterbirth? So I'm supposed to ask you about Afterbirth.
Yeah, every day I get up and I'm like, I wonder if anybody's going to ask me an Afterbirth question. And I check Twitter, I'm like, wow, nobody wants to know anything about Afterbirth?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I never get those questions.
Yeah, I don't understand it myself. And on top of that, like, they leave it so simple as to ask you to tell about Afterbirth, and I don't know exactly what they want you to tell because everything's already out there. Like, yeah. you have a dev blog.
I can tell you that Danielle's Afterbirth. What are we going to do with it?
I kind of want to bring it home and plant it.
We're going to plant a baby tree.
All right. Now
I'll have to put in capsules and eat it.
This sounds good, actually. Are you thinking about spicing it in any way?
No.
I don't know if I can get behind this.
All full of 9 months of donuts.
That's absolutely fucking beautiful, I must say.
She had a dream the other night that she was driving by a bunch of dead gnarled deers that had trees planted on top of their dead bodies. And I believe it was inspired by the idea of planting a tree via placenta.
That is one of the scariest fucking things I've ever heard in my life.
It was weird.
So what have you guys been up to? I know that you guys have been... Well, I know Ed's been working on Afterbirth, and I'm sure Danielle's once again staring at your back a lot.
Yeah, recently she has been. That's true. Yeah, I've been out of. I haven't been working. There's been a lot of stuff that's happened in our lives that have changed a lot of things over the past year, and for a good 8 months, I wasn't working, and it was in the midst of a transition from our old place to our new place, which was in a very difficult move, and involved a lot of horrible things that had happened. And some family members that have, since not been part of our life anymore. Mm-hmm. And I kind of took a break, and I wasn't even sure what I was going to be doing. I didn't know if I wanted to make games anymore because it was, things were so chaotic and wasn't really feeling it. And then in the midst of that, we got pregnant. So Danielle's been pregnant for 7 months now.
Congratulations. Honestly, congratulations. I'm very excited about that.
Thank you.
This is my favorite thing you'll ever release, I want you to know.
Yeah, I didn't think that I could, he got sick, and he was sick for a week, and then one day I woke up and I was sick, and I didn't think you could get sick while you're pregnant. I thought that was a law against that. It's not fair.
So yeah, it's been a very different year, and it's been a hell of a lot better than it was last year, and I've just now started to get back into part-time game development, and I've been working on a game called Fingered, which will probably be out on Steam in the next couple weeks, with James Id, who happens to be the guy that did all of my trailers, all the game trailers that have been out, all the really good ones that usually stick out in your mind. Mm-hmm. He did those, and it was just a little project to kind of get my feet back in the water after not working on anything for so long. And
yeah, he was being so hard on himself And it was like, he literally had not taken a break in,
Since 2003?
yeah, like, like every day, everything is, he's always thinking of stuff, and he's always doing stuff, so it was just like, yeah, take a fucking break.
It was difficult, though. It's weird to do something for so long and then even allow yourself to take a break. It wasn't something that I wanted to allow myself to do. It was just something that happened. It's just, bad shit happens in your life, and you've got to, like, figure it out and focus on that, and then you get away from it for so long, and you're like, well, what am I doing again, and why am I doing it? And your priorities completely change, especially when a baby's thrown into the mix, and it's like, okay, well, I don't know what I'll be when I'm a dad. I don't know what that means for video games and if I'll care, but for the most part,
he's going to start making shitty games.
Yeah.
Shitty baby games.
All my games are just going to be money grabs. It's going to be great.
So, Five Nights at Fingered.
Yeah, Five Nights at Fingered.
All right.
But yeah, Fingered is a fun little thing. I don't even know what to call it. Like, it was a game that we've been working on the weekends for a few weeks, and it was like, oh, this is pretty cool. Like, what do we do with it? And I'm like, oh, well, we'll just get it sponsored. And I hadn't got a game sponsored in 5 or 6 years, and I had no idea that the whole video game sponsorship shit sailed long time ago. You could not get jack shit for sponsored video games anymore. So I was like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, and James had quit his job, so I want to make sure that the guy gets some money out of this deal. So we'll sell it for super cheap somewhere. And I thought maybe just put it in the Humble store, but it was just kind of like Isaac, one of those situations where I showed Steam and they were like, yeah, sure, we'll just put it up on Steam and just name your price. So it'll be really, really cheap, and it'll be. It's a small little game, but it'll be interesting. It's a pretty interesting, randomly generated whodunit type situation where you get to murder people. It's going to be good.
See, I don't know shit about Fingered. I've actually been following James and what he's been doing, but I didn't know that you were working on it with him, which is kind of the shocking thing. I need to see this. It needs to happen.
So far, people of all ages like it, especially our niece and nephew who are, they're going to be 9 and 7. And my sister, I guess they were wondering when, because they don't have like a build on their computer, they were wondering when it's actually going to come out. And my sister, just in the nick of time, caught my niece Googling Fingered.
Oh, God.
So, that was a close call.
Are you worried about
fingered means something else other than like fingering somebody because they did the crime? It could mean something else. I wasn't aware of all of that.
Some people call flipping people off fingering them, and that's disgusting.
My mother, who's in the chat, she knows nothing about video games. She knows I'm an interviewer. She's known for a few years. She's in the chat, which is really funny to me. And
she has no idea what fingering is.
Yeah, she's Googling it right now. Mom, don't do it.
Don't do it.
My mother actually calls flipping people off fingering people. So
no, don't stop it.
There's fingering people, Mom.
Yeah, my mother needs to quit
fingering people.
There was a time when I was a little kid, when I just recently learned what getting fingered was, and my mother drove by somebody at Walmart and she got cut off, and she goes, "That guy just fingered me," and I was like, Mom, no, he didn't. He's in his car. How can he finger you from here? So I totally understand. I have a very funny yet serious question for you. Are you worried about kids saying that they want to get fingered?
I didn't think about any of this. Obviously I thought about that. It's funny. It's a funny title, but
it's great.
I didn't think about any of that. I don't put much thought into these things.
I hope there's some kids that will happily exclaim like, "I fingered him."
I fingered him.
I fingered the killer.
I'll have you know that once you fingered the guy, it says "finger him." It's pretty great. Matthias does all the voiceover stuff, and Ridiculon, him and John together did the music score for it, which it has a very, very awesome bonus track at the very end of the game. If you're able to complete it, there's kind of a credits roll song that I wrote and that they had done. And it's pretty awesome. Pretty happy with it. But yeah, no, it was very fun just working on something. I don't want to say pointless. Something fun, like something where the goal wasn't to make money, but just to do something and to see if I could just jump back into it. And
which was like, actually, I mean, not that this is anywhere near like the type of game that Isaac is, but that's exactly how Isaac started out.
It's true.
Yeah,
it's good to try to get back there. You know, you lose sight of what's important sometimes. You get caught up in other things. But yeah, aside from that, I have been working on Afterbirth, and it's, again, like, it's not work as work used to be for me. I mean, it's a lot of design work, and which is pretty easy for me to do, and pretty effortless and fun. But you know, that could be my future. My future could be more design driven, you know, less hands on. But I was still hands on with Fingered, even though it was simplistic. But been working on that, and been working on. Jumped back into Meat Boy Forever, and hopefully we'll have something to show at PAX that will be a little different from last year, and we can knock that out of the park, and then we can move on to something new and figure out what's going to happen next.
Which PAX?
The one in Seattle.
Ah, okay. So the one that I'm surprisingly not going
that's
to.
not East.
Is it?
It's the other one.
I think I'm correct. I don't ever go to these things, so it's confusing for me. Tommy lives there, so he always goes to that one.
Okay, yeah, Prime. It's
Yes.
definitely Prime. That's the one I'm not going to. Are you guys going to be at PAX East? Because I'm going to be working. I no longer impress. I just do these interviews now because I want to talk to other game developers and let people know who they are. I am actually a PR guy for Studio Whiskey Tango now, so I'm going to be working at the next one. Yeah, I noticed.
The baby's going to be popping out. I mean, it's danger zone time at the end of August because we've got like 3 to 4 weeks until baby. So, you know, that's my excuse for being a fucking reclusive weirdo. I'm sorry, the baby's coming soon. I can't go to PAX.
Now we have an excuse.
Yeah.
Besides, we just don't want to.
then I don't have to like go anywhere for, you know, what, a couple of years.
Yeah.
Baby, I'm sorry. It's not that I'm a complete psycho.
Well, we can blame everything on her. We can just say, like, she is a bitch.
She won't let us.
She orders us around. She does not like to leave the house.
She doesn't. I'm sorry. Our daughter has a crippling fear of travel. I can't do it. Sorry.
She's a real weirdo.
Yeah.
God, it's terrible. So when is it? Do you have a day exactly that we can expect to get fingered? Wow. Huh. That was.
I would say pretty soon. Like, so the current build is being tested on Steam. It works. All the achievements are being added, and I just want like a good 4 days with it to really test it on Steam and make sure it plays well enough, and then, you know, release it for probably $1 or $2. I don't know.
Man, this all sounds very familiar with the development process on it and the length of time and everything. Just sounds very familiar to me.
Don't get your hopes up. I mean, it's no Isaac, but it's still something different. Like, it's one of those things that I'm excited to just put out because nothing really like it, and it's pretty bizarre. Well, as you would assume.
It's fun and it's funny, but yeah, of course, it's not like
yeah, it's not something you're gonna spend your life playing. But yeah, so it's something that I would have made a few years ago. You know, like something small, fun, and you know, you get to have fun with. It's been an interesting learning experience. Like, it's been, I mean, in a lot of ways, you'll see when you play it, but it tackles a lot of, I want to say, physical stereotypes, but I don't really. That sounds misleading in a way. Like, you know, when there's like police lineup and you've got to describe the person or whatever else, you have to describe them in ways that aren't necessarily PC. And I think it's been an interesting process of going through. Like, you'd be surprised how many characteristics a biker shares with a gay man. If that makes sense. There's crossover there. There's a large amount of crossover. It's like, you know, large bearded leather men. There's a bleed right in there, and it just like
or like a hipster and a homeless person.
Yeah, exactly. A hipster and a homeless person share a lot of these same qualities too. So I don't know. It's been a really interesting experience. I think it's pretty funny. It's a very obvious satire, and I'm sure you'll get it when you play it. But yeah, it's fun, and it's fun to work with James.
I'm very excited about this. Like, I mean, you're depending on the day, you're either my favorite developer ever or you're my second favorite. So it just like it's one of those.
Oh, now I gotta know who the other person is.
Dennis Whedon from Denaton, creators of Hotline Miami.
That's the other guy that the opposite of Cactus.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I know who that is.
I was gonna say, I'd hope you know who he is. He's highly of you every time. He says,
"No, I love those guys." I mean, yeah, no, they're doing things that need to be done,
like rape.
Yes,
it's a good fucking point. No, Dennis is Dennis.
No, they have balls, and like the industry needs balls, like and it's okay to be female and have balls too. So bring it hard.
Whoa.
Go on.
That's it. That's all.
I like the idea that like my two favorite game developers have such respect for each other. Like that's something you don't see too much of. Like usually when people talk about their favorite game developers, they're like, "Oh, I love Ken Levine and Jade Raymond," and it's like, well, they didn't really do too much. They kind of oversee these things. Well, they hate each other, and I don't like that, so I have to choose sides. And it's like, you guys are assholes for believing that. I mean, there's hundreds of people working on those games, and then
I've actually known Cactus for a very long time. Like, I helped him pee ages ago at GEC. He was drunk, of course, as he is, and he we were showing stuff at Giant Robot in San Francisco, some very hip art type situation, and he said he really needed to go to the bathroom. They didn't have bathrooms around, and he asked if I could walk with him around the corner and make sure a cop doesn't drive up while he pees on those side.
I really pictured you like holding his penis.
I did too.
That's what I pictured, and I was disappointed.
Yeah.
And I put on a shirt, and it was great.
Oh yeah, he put on his little hoodie. It was so cute.
I feel bad because I still have not met Cactus, yet Dennis has become one of my best friends. So I
feel like I've met him, but it was a long time ago, and I don't remember him well enough. Like that was like the year of the indie when we all got along. Like it was this amazing year where before everything went to shit, and like everybody got along, and it was all about the art, and it was all about having fun and being nice to each other. And then the next year just became this like almost like jealous fit of rage, and then social justice came and exploded.
Rape hadn't been invented yet.
No, there wasn't any rape then, so there wasn't anything to complain about.
There was no women.
There was no women.
Everything
there was no race.
There was no race. It was a great time. I mean, back in 2009, I wish we could go back there.
Yeah.
How much do you think that Indie Game the Movie affected that? Because I feel like a lot of people started getting weird, jealous fits over all of you that were involved in that movie.
It's possible. It's
also
hard.
and also people thought they could quit their job and just make a game, so there was such a huge influx of people.
I don't know. I don't know. Like when I talk about this sort of stuff, and I like to complain about how the scene sucks because it's fun, but I'm not really complaining about anything directly towards me because nothing ever is. Like I get complained about more before the movie, if that makes sense. I was way more of a bad guy who got shit on a lot before the movie, and then the movie just happened to paint me in a light, where I was a nice person. So, or maybe just compared to Phil or whatever else, I just looked more sane. So, I didn't get much shit. I don't know what happened to the scene. Like, my only problem with the scene is it seems like people it's less and less about the games and more about talking about stuff that has nothing to do with games that could be expressed through them, if that makes sense. Like, they could be taking the effort to say something important or political or whatever with their work, but instead they're just using the fact that they're game designers as a platform to say, I'm important enough for you to listen to what I have to say. And that just seems gross. Like, I'll tell you right now, no one here should fucking give a shit about anything I say unless it's about game design, because that's all I know about. That's it. That's what I'm good at. I'm not good at anything else. Like, only take everything I say with a grain of salt. I'm probably joking the most of the things I say either way, but only listen to the things that I say about game design, because that's the only thing that I should be respected for in any way, shape, or form right now. Like, it doesn't matter what my opinions are on all the other bullshit that's going on right now. I'm just a fucking regular dude. Just ask me about game design stuff. That's the stuff that matters. That's the stuff that I actually have some opinion that's valid on. But I don't know. Again, I'm just bitching for shits and giggles at this point. But it gets tired, dude. It's like, I don't know. Like the internet is amusingly shitty. People are amusingly shitty, and people love to fucking talk and they love to feel important. So have at it. I just don't really want a part of it. It just doesn't. I don't know. It just, over time, it got more annoying than amusing, I guess. It's not funny anymore.
No.
It's not funny. Like, I used to judge in the IGF, and...
yeah, thank fucking God you quit that. I congratulate you on that shit.
Every year, it got progressively worse. Like, it just got so bad, and she would hear me every time, and she'd hear me say, "This is the last year. I'm not doing this again."
And I would say, yes, please.
Because it would go from like, I feel good about this industry, I feel good about the direction that we're headed, to, wait, what? Like, these people believe that it's just weird. It's hard to separate the artist from the art. I try my best to do that. There are a lot of developers out there who I can't stand, but I think that they do great work, and I try my best to keep it that way. But yeah, like you get the agenda of all different directions of where video games should go and why, and like once people start saying, I think the winner should not go to the game that's the best, but it should go to the development team that helped the community the most when it comes to equality. It's just like, what?
Why? Who signed us up for that?
Like, that would be great if it was all about that. Like, if that's what it was about. But what does that have to do with video games? I just don't get it. I just don't get it.
You're right. The team I work with now, I decided to become a part of the team instead of just working freelance PR, because their idea of everything is, fuck what's going on out there. Let's make the dumbest shit that we can in a video game and put it out there and let people have fun with it. And on top of that, let's never release a bad video game. To which I said, okay, I'm with you guys. I'm full on with you. We made a game about the world ended, and all you want to do is go to this badass rock concert and take your little friend Lerny with you. And the world's ended. How are you going to a fucking rock concert? I don't fucking know. It makes no sense. But you're killing people in vehicles the whole fucking time. Like, it's stupid shit that we wanted to do. Like, I think one of the greatest games of all time is Jazz Punk. It's not trying to say anything. It's the dumbest shit in the fucking world, and yet it is one of the funniest, best games out there.
Yeah. If it's fun, it's fun. If it's, yeah.
You can tell a serious story, but you don't have to be an asshole.
Like, you can say whatever you want about anything in a video game, and that's fucking great. You're using the medium as something awesome, and you can say nothing and make it fun, and that's fucking great too. Like, I have complete respect for every side of the spectrum when it comes to video games. Like, I'm the guy in the IGF when somebody is saying how Dear Esther is not a video game. It is this, and this, and this, and it shouldn't be in the IGF. I'm the guy that's like, well, I can see how it is, and I can see how it isn't. I think it's still good for what it is. I try my best to just take the good parts of everything and be like, yeah, that was a success. That was good. I just don't want to fucking hear anything other than that. I care about the video games.
Pardon me for a second while I kind of kiss your ass again for a second. You're one of the people that I've listened to about a lot of things over the years, and ever since I quit being in the press and quit reviewing games and all this other kind of shit, I finally got rid of that whole mentality that, like, one thing has to be better than the other, like, this has to be this way, and it's been really nice that I've been able to be positive about such things, because back in the day I used to say the same thing about Dear Esther, fuck that's not a video game, and anybody who buys it's a fucking idiot. And now I'm just like, yo, it's an interactive media of some sort. You get to play through. You know what to expect if you're buying it, and even if you don't understand what to expect, like go into it with an open mind. It was kind of like the Proteus situation. This isn't a fucking video game. What is this shit? And it's like you go into Proteus not thinking about anything, and Proteus is actually a pretty fucking cool little thing.
Yeah, it's kind of this weird mentality of, I don't know if it's the internet or if it's just people in general or what. Everybody wants to be part of a team, and in order for you to be on a team, you have to create an opposing team. Like you need the opposite end. Like there needs to be a devil to your angel in order for things to work out. So it's like you got to take a side. You take a side and point the finger at the other side and tell them they're wrong. And that's just kind of why we're all fucked at this point. Everybody wants to fight. Everybody wants to be like, I'm team Dear Esther and whatever, you know, and then argue about it when it's like, that's not the way it really works. Like, if you don't like it, you don't have to play it, and that's fine. You don't need to choose a side here. Like, it doesn't matter. It matters. Everybody thinks things matter a lot more than they actually do. I think people take things pretty seriously these days, but
yeah, but they're taking video games serious, and that's kind of the sad part.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like people's lives must be really too easy right now to have time to worry about that kind of stuff. Like, you obviously don't have enough personal turmoil going on in your life.
Yeah, obviously.
Get some more of that.
It's just really fucking sad. But, you know, I want to get on to another topic, if you guys don't mind.
Yeah, it's fun.
I know that you said you didn't want to talk about such serious things that people shouldn't listen to you. So, how about something people would listen to you about, and especially me and a couple of game developer friends that I've talked to about this. Are we ever going to see Gish get re-released in any sort of way? Because a lot of us can't boot it on our PCs for some reason.
Really?
Yeah, and it makes me really sad because Gish is the one game of yours I've never gotten to play.
Oh.
You're not missing anything.
I am missing something because that's like...
The sad thing is like if you go back and play Gish, you're going to see a lot. You're going to see that I'm kind of a one-trick pony when it comes to long play games that have progression. You'll see like I'm just doing the same stuff. Like I'm pretty sure the progression of Gish is almost identical to Isaac as far as like the chapters you go through. It's pretty funny.
You made
no one's pointed that out.
Somebody's a little obsessed with hell.
You're going to hell in some way, shape, or form.
I probably am, but like we talked about this like 4 years ago when we did our first interview. I've been playing your game since I was like 13. You know, I was one of the Newgrounds kids, and I played dead baby dress up games and shit. I got to dress a dead baby like Triple H at one point in time. Thank you.
Yep, I remember that.
So I've been playing your games for a long time, and for me to only have never played one of your games makes me a sad, sad man. I want to play Gish.
Okay, so for Gish, so I made Gish with Alex Austin, who lived in San Francisco for a long time, but recently moved back to Santa Cruz. I ran into him a few times. We had a falling out a while back, but not on bad terms. So, honestly, I could never see making another Gish type game. Like we attempted, Gish 2 was in development for a year, and it kind of, I wasn't feeling it, and it wasn't really going anywhere, and there were a lot of reasons for it. There hasn't really been a physics-based platformer in a while. When Gish came out, there were quite a few of them. I don't know how I feel about physics-based platformers at this point. Like, I feel like there were a lot of shortcomings. There were a lot of issues with physics and platforming, especially difficult platforming in physics, where there's a lot of random variables that you couldn't foresee happening when you're shooting yourself through the air. There's just like random trajectory when it comes to the way Gish jumps and stuff like that. We had improved a lot of different things, but the game was actually going to be more of a Metroidvania than a platformer. And it was pretty big in scope, and it kind of got away from us and things kind of fell apart. But I don't see myself ever going there again. Like I can safely say I will never venture back into Gish territory. But as far as making it work on the systems that are current, I couldn't talk to Alex about it and see where we're at. I know he's interested in updating things. And there was another game that we made together called Blast Miner, which isn't as bad as it sounds. And we've talked about possibly putting that up on Steam for a few bucks or something too. So if he's interested in doing that sort of stuff, then I think he might be interested in making sure Gish works. And I know he added some new achievements to it recently, so I'm kind of surprised it doesn't work on people's computers. But that game is old, man. That was like my first real game.
I haven't played that yet either. What the hell is going on? I've played Cunt. I've played Spewer, which still and I apologize because last time you guys were like, "What? Really?" Spewer's still my favorite game you've ever made. I fucking love Spewer. The ending, it gets me every time.
Well,
how about the Basement Collection? Can we see that on like PlayStation 4s or anything?
I don't think so.
Damn it!
There's a lot of work that goes into that, and the Basement Collection was. I mean, if you could say it wasn't a bomb to me because it wasn't like me and Tyler put it together, and we put it together in a few weeks, and so whatever money we made was a plus. It's not like there was an investment, but there's a company in Germany that puts all of my games on disc, and for a while we had a store that was open that we were selling all of our disc games on, and the Basement Collection was a big failure for them. They did not make their money back off of it, and I do not foresee anybody caring enough whatsoever to.
Yeah, even in our personal store, I had to put it in a bundle.
Yeah.
Wait, I've already bought 2 of them. That wasn't enough?
The Basement Collection is for people who are really big fans of my work, and they just want to see the other stuff. I mean, it's not bad. Like, Spewer's not a bad game. I think Time Fuck is one of my best games. Ether's a great game. You know, they're all legit, but I personally think that the Basement Collection is probably out there for people who are designers or they want to work in games and they want to see the process of like my learning curve, you know, the life learning curve of learning how games work and figuring it out as I go.
Will we ever see a Basement Collection 2 with like Cunt and Dead Baby dress up on it?
I don't think so. It would have been fun to put it on there, but you know, of course, you can't put that on Steam.
Yeah, I don't understand that though. Like, it's not like that game isn't known about, and it's not like it's something that.
Well, if I really wanted to fight it, I probably could be like, Steam, come on, just put an AO rating on this game and let me put it up. But it just doesn't make much sense to me. Like, I don't want to risk my reputation with Steam for a game that, you know, is just a dick joke.
It's a good dick joke, though.
I'm not denying that it isn't a good dick joke. I thought it was a fantastic dick joke, and I thought it was very well drawn and very funny, but a lot of people don't think that. A lot of people think a lot of things about that game.
It's pretty funny, but it's disgusting, but it's fucking funny.
Thank you.
So what is going on with Meat Boy Forever? And also, as much as I hate to ask about it because it's gone dark, Mugenics.
Yeah. So so the whole story of both of those things, it was. I'll try to sum it all up.
Okay.
So Tommy and I finished Meat Boy, and I had was working on Isaac, and Tommy was actually still finishing up level editor stuff that was going up for free, Meat Boy wise. And I finished Isaac up. Isaac came out, and Tommy, I was like, hey, I think Tommy was at like a GDC or something one year, and he was like, hey, everybody's doing cell phone games. And I think that was around the time that I started to notice that my niece was really big on cell phone games, and I felt like that was realistically the kind of the future where people were going to play. Like, kids growing up desperately needed a Mario type game, because right now they're sitting at like, you know, Angry Birds being their Mario growing up, which is not necessarily a great game. And I thought, hey, it would be cool to have a platformer like a Mario. And he was like, hey, let's prototype, you know, a one-button type Meat Boy, see if it's possible. And we threw something together with the existing game, and it was kind of fun. And we're like, hey, let's make that our next project. Let's do like an auto runner type Meat Boy, but like add some stuff that we haven't seen added, and really tune it up and make it like a Meat Boy Twitch game. And we prototyped it for a while, And then randomly there was one of those game jams that happened, and one of the like things on the list was 1,000 cats or something. And we're like, hey, let's do this game jam, and we'll do 1,000 cats. Let's just come up with something for this game jam. And we came up with what would eventually be Mugenics. And it was just a really basic DNA simulation of cats. Like the cats would have sex and pop out other cats that had similar attributes, and they would just kind of roam around the house. And I really liked the way it looked, and I really liked the idea of expanding on it in like kind of like an Animal Crossing way. And I was like, hey, we'll do that. Let's do that. And Tommy was really into it, and we decided to just go all in that and into Mugenics. And we worked on that for about a year, and it was one of those kind of projects that kind of, the more time that passed, the more we added to it, the more we felt like we needed to add more to it to justify the time spent. Kind of got away from us a little bit. And I think we ended up showing it at PAX, and Tommy wasn't really feeling it anymore, and it was kind of just floating around. I don't know what was going on with it. So we're like, okay, well, how about we come back to Meat Boy, finish that real quick, kind of get the mojo running again, and then we'll jump back into Mugenics. So we did that, but that's around the time where everything kind of fell apart on my end, and I stopped working on everything. So that's kind of where we are now. I'm jumping back into it. When it comes to Mugenics, I actually took the time to kind of almost redesign it on paper. I think I've come up with a much better design to use the foundation of cat breeding. So hopefully once Meat Boy Forever is done, we will be able to jump back into Mugenics and finish it, because it's definitely one of those projects that I think about more often than any other project that I've worked on, and both of us put a lot of time into it. But I think in order to get it done, it needs to be something that we're both excited about, that we felt like we could really do more with. And I'm not too sure if just the basic Animal Crossing aspect is going to work. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll kind of play it by ear and jump back into it. But yeah, right now, focusing on Meat Boy and Baby.
I hope you don't mind that I illegally stole the Mugenics song and put it on my cell phone a while ago. So it is one of my ringtones.
That's one of the most depressing aspects of putting Mugenics on pause, was that the soundtrack was the best soundtrack of any video game I've ever heard. One of my favorite soundtracks is the Katamari soundtrack.
Yes.
And it's pretty comparable in its complete absurdity. Just fantastic. Like, I think if we would have pushed Mugenics out as what it was, with like an Animal Crossing type simulation game, that it probably wouldn't have done fantastic, but the soundtrack would have just done really well. I feel like people would have known it for the soundtrack more than the game. But it's still there, and there's a shitload of tracks, and we'll probably end up doing more with other stuff that I have planned. So it'll see the light of day one day.
I really wish other game developers would take note and not just push shit out on the Steam. I just want to throw that out there. So Afterbirth is the thing everybody wants to know about. I don't know how the fuck you did it, Ed, but you made this game that everybody fell in love with. And the last time I talked to you, I think it was a year after The Binding of Isaac had come out. The original Isaac had come out. Yeah. And it's just caught on more and more. And then Rebirth came out. And I was like, I think Rebirth's going to be successful, but I don't know if it's going to hit like vanilla Isaac levels of success. And holy shit, was I fucking wrong. Now everybody wants to know about Afterbirth. When I don't know if you know this. I'm sure you probably do, but what time frame are we looking for Afterbirth? I personally would probably, I feel like we need another month of development and then probably another month of tuning. But you know, you never fucking know in the situation. Like, full disclosure, there's a new game mode in the game, which I feel is the focus and should be the focus of Afterbirth, because it's kind of a whole new experience and a whole new remix take on how you'd play the game normally. And I want it to work really well. And right now, that's exactly what we're doing. Like, we're tuning it, and it's almost there. It's getting closer.
and I want enough time with it in order to make it good. The cool thing working with Tyrone is I feel like, well, everybody involved really, I feel like they're as ambitious as I am when it comes to the stuff we want to do, and kind of tend to push it even more. And I mean, just recently, Tyrone was like, we need more items. And I'm like, well, why don't we just hold off on the items until, we do another expansion or something else? Let's just focus on whatever. They're like, no, let's just make it, let's just do it now. Just can you come up with another 30 items? And it's just like, maybe. I sat down and designed 30 items that worked really well. And the cool thing was, and then they had I think they had about 20 items that they had come up with that I was able to kind of tune and make work with the game as well. And it was just cool. It's nice to know that they understand how the Isaac formula works, where it's just like, give me more, give me more, and keep filling it up and keep filling it up. And I remember during development, I was very worried about putting too much on. Like, Rebirth went to a remake. It was supposed to just be a remake for console, and it turned into this, I'm not happy with this. I wouldn't be happy with this if I was a gamer who I am, I wouldn't be happy with this as a fan of Isaac, and I want to be happy with it. In order for that to happen, this needs to happen. And in order for that to happen, the game needs to be pushed back another year, and we need to work on it full time for another year. And Tyrone was totally cool with it. And that's what made the game good. Like, the extra care, the extra work made it so, it's over 1 million downloads on Steam. I don't even know what they are on console. So it's sold faster than anything I've ever done, and it's just 3 times as more as the old Isaac, so that's always nice. And it's I think it shows in the care and the time that we took on it. And Afterbirth, the same way, where it's close, but I definitely want to make sure that it's going to warrant the price tag, which I don't know what it is yet.
Yeah.
So soon enough.
I have to say something to you. I just want an endless mode, Ed. I just want endless mode. I don't mean the basement seed where you end up breakfasting out in the end, because I hate red hearts. I hate them.
I'll tell you right now, endless mode isn't what you want. Because if you had an endless mode, you really wouldn't like the game anymore.
You'd outlive all your friends and people you love.
Yeah. I don't know if you heard her. She's telling you that you will outlive your friends and the people you love. That won't be good.
Maybe that's fine with me. Maybe I...
No, it's not.
Oh, okay.
It's not. Do you want to see everybody around you die? There is no future in endless mode.
We have those days, Ed. We have those days.
But that is the best analogy for it, though. Endless mode would mean you see all your friends die, and you see it in, super fast motion. Like, 1,000 years passes in a day, and everybody's died, and you're all alone, and then it's just forever that you just exist, and it's just boring because you've seen it all. You've seen it all, you know what's to come, and who cares?
Okay, that's a good point, I guess. I will accept that.
Structure is so important. It's so important, and in limitation and structure is so vital in Isaac. If you want to just go nuts and break the game and get 1 million items, you're going to have to put in the work to break it. There will never be an endless mode.
So I'll stick with that basement seed.
I'm telling you, if there was an endless mode, people would stop playing.
No, yeah, I do understand, and I do see it from your point, actually. I completely see it from your perspective. Sad, yes, but at the same time, you're 100% correct, and you're changing my mind about things, and I don't know if I like that.
To play around with the formula of Isaac, recently I've been mulling over the idea of a possible sequel in the future and how that would work and what that would mean as far as what I would need to do and what the goal would be. And the goal would be to make an endless game, and how would I go about achieving that, and how far can I push it? I mean, the best example would be when I put in the donation machines for Rebirth. I thought it would take a really long time for somebody to max out at 99999, and of course they did, within the first couple weeks, just to see if they could get there. what if I made that go up to 1 million? And what if I really had rewards for each of those things? Like, there you'd have an endless game. But of course, somebody just fucking hack it and then figure out what all the unlocks were, and then just show videos of them with all the unlocks and kind of spoil the fun. But I don't know. I think I could outdo myself at this point. It's funny how Isaac works. Like, the structure is there, and it's so bloated at this point. But the more bloated it gets, it doesn't seem to kind of cave in on itself. It seems to just complement itself. But there's still so many limitations that if I didn't have, I could make a game that was much larger and much more endless. So I look forward to one day being able to do that.
There's a YouTube channel out there called The Game Theorist. Have you seen this?
Yeah, I saw the Isaac one. He did a really good job.
How fucking close was he?
He was pretty right on him. Like, a lot of people miss a lot of marks, and it was really interesting to watch. Of course, there was a lot of things that were very like, what? I don't know where that's coming from. Like, you're reaching there. But for the most part, he was surprisingly, interestingly correct in as far as, like, what I intended when I made it. Like, my idea of what's going on as I'm, designing these things. It was impressive. I was impressed.
That makes me I wait for the day that he tries to figure out Hotline Miami. But good fucking luck to anybody who thinks they can figure that shit out. Okay, the other question that keeps on getting asked a lot, and this has been asked of me all day, and I'm like, Ed's not here. He's not here right now. It says 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. He's still not here. European release, because people don't understand what the Binding of Isaac.com is.
Okay, so it will come out soon enough. I keep getting these rumors. People tweet me things. They say it's out now. I don't know if it is or not. I'm not in Europe, and I don't know because we don't control these things. Like, this isn't. These are the gatekeepers are there, and they are going to put it out, and we'll know about it. Like, probably either when it happens or days before. But yeah, there have been some issues with certain things. It's kind of weird how things work in different places. Like, the 3DS version has been hung up because of drawing on the screen. I don't know the details of it, but there might just be different rules over there as far as approval goes. Like, sometimes things just get through over here and then get hung up over there. So, yeah, I really wish I had an answer. And the best thing is, like, if I knew, you'd know. Like, all the people that are asking, you'd know. You'd know, because you'd instantly be able to find out. But I don't know. I don't have a date. But of course it'll come out. It's going through the approval process, and I am sorry that it didn't come out simultaneously on all systems, on all platforms across the globe. But Nicholas is actually a pretty small team, and they don't have the power that you think that we do. We can't just tell them to do stuff, and they don't listen. They don't care. Fucking Isaac is a drop in the bucket for them. They don't care. They don't care about anything. They're just there. They're just there.
They put out some good fucking games, though. And also, I forgot to congratulate you. I know that one of your biggest goals that you talked about previously was that you always wanted one of your games on a Nintendo console. So yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you. That was a very interesting, long process that I thought would never, ever happen, and it was so random. But I got to hand it to 3 people, actually. Dan Edelman, who used to work for Nintendo, he was the head of, digital development for digital games. He was the head guy there. He had campaigned. He was the guy who got Meat Boy on the Wii. We ended up not actually being able to do it, but he was the guy who pushed for it. And then even after all the bullshit that happened with that, he was the guy who was pushing for Isaac and was all about it. And him and Reggie both liked the game and approved it. It just kept hitting snags because of different content in it. And then, of course, Tyrone, who would religiously fly up to Nintendo and plead his case monthly, it seemed. He was doing the legwork, man. He really pushed for it. And, in the end, I don't know if it was just a changing of the guard situation or what, but we got through. And it's really cool. I feel like the 3DS version, aside from the memory leak issues that cause, invisible things to happen when you keep playing for extended periods of time. I think it's the best version of Isaac by far.
Really?
It's really, really fun. It's the one I play the most at this point.
Wow, I'm actually shocked to hear that. So, Rebirth is coming to Xbox One.
Yeah. Well, it's out. It's on Xbox One already.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Just not in Europe.
Ed, Microsoft Ed. Pardon?
I wasn't involved.
Oh, okay. I was like, dude, this has to be a Nicholas decision then.
I remember thinking that they wouldn't want to work with me, and I think Tyrone was like, "Yeah, they're all about it." And I think like one of the guys that approved it and actually was one of the people that helped us with Meat Boy. Yeah, I don't know. Like again, changing of the guard. The people that fucked us over that work there don't work there anymore.
Surprise.
Like it's such a high turnover rate. Like the way those big businesses work is some guy comes in and who used to be the head of some other company, and he's like, "Hey, for the 5 years that I'm here, this is what's gonna happen. No more 2D games. Those are out. 3D games are in. 3D games are where it's at." And then he sits there and stands guard to make sure that no 2D games get in and only 3D games cut out. And then regardless of the success of that year period, he takes credit for anything positive that happens that year and moves on to another company. And that's what happened with us. It was same situation. I'm sure that guy doesn't work there anymore.
I would not be shocked, honestly.
It's just one of many reasons why I don't like to be involved in business. I'm not good at it. I'm not good at any of that sort of stuff. And I don't like those people. I don't understand their motivation. It's just not for me. When Tyrone was like, I know you've got issues with Microsoft, but how do you feel about putting Isaac on it? And I said, "Hey, dude, this is your investment. He spent a lot of hours and a lot of money on porting this. I didn't help fund it. You make your money back. Like, put it on whatever you want. I don't care. Like, as long as I'm not involved in the business process, do whatever you want to do. It just means more people are going to play it and more money is going to come in. But whatever. It's cool. They don't fucking care about me. I'm not going to care about them."
Good point.
Holding a grudge against Microsoft is not going to do me any good.
No, not particularly, but at the same time, I mean, the whole story and it unfolded in a movie was just fucking hilarious and crazy to me.
If you only knew the stuff that we can't talk about that really happened, you'd be like, why in the hell would you ever speak to those people again? But I don't fucking care because I wasn't involved and more people play it. I mean, it's surreal to think that not only a game that I worked on, but also an independent game, and also The Binding of Isaac, a game like Isaac, could be launched on all the platforms.
It's fucking nuts.
It's on all the systems. Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
Never in a million years would I have thought that I would have made something that had been on all the systems, especially a game about religious child abuse and a naked child that shits everywhere. What world is this?
You do make a good point.
So whatever.
I'm going to throw a name at you. Actually, I'm going to throw a couple of names at you because
Fat and hairy.
All right, there you go. Done.
Nailed me.
Got it. A lot of people keep on mentioning the names of the other people in Indie Game the movie.
Yeah.
And some of them are...
Are they mentioning only one name mostly?
Yeah, mostly one name. And it's John Blow, isn't it?
It
has to be John fucking Blow.
It's got to be John Blow.
Everybody's like, that guy's such a dick.
Good old Johnny Blow.
John Blow is such a fucking nice guy. Every time I've talked to him, he's been super fucking nice. But I'm still scared to death of him after the stories you told me about him.
He's so fucking funny. He came over a couple weeks ago and we played Time's Up. I don't know if you've played that. It's one of the heavy rotation games that we have here on the weekends, and it's just a great, fun, funny game.
Charades.
It's like charades, and he was playing, and he was on a team with a friend of mine. His name's Royce, and the word was cop, and he had to kind of act out cop. And the first thing he did was he grabbed Royce's arms in a way a cop would to arrest them, and Royce got so fucking scared that he was shell-shocked for the rest of the game. And he had just met John, and he was already intimidated by him, you know, because Royce wants to be a developer as well, and that's like kind of what he's going to school for. So he's already in awe of this guy, and then he gets partnered with him, so he's probably super nervous, and then John just grabs his arms.
Shoots him a couple of times.
Got there.
Uh,
He's not black, so.
a good point. That is a good point, now that you mention it. The name that people keep on mentioning, and by the way, scared to death of John fucking Blow. Every time I've seen him in person, I almost shit my fucking pants because of... There was a story he told me I'm not going to tell on air, but about a car robbery.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not exactly gonna... I don't know if this is the place to do that one, but...
just get an interview with him and ask him about it. He'll tell you about it. The dude fucking kicks ass. He's
awesome.
a fucking powerhouse.
And everybody sits there and talks shit. Like, we got a guy in the chat right now talking shit about John Blow. He's like, "Oh, John Blow hates everything, though." It's like, no, John.
I got an argument with a guy. I randomly, I think it was when we were rolling our schedule around, so I was like mildly delirious in the early AM, staying up for 24 hours. Someone was tweeting at me. It was like a Gamersgate type conspiracy theorist who was going nuts on John Blow and talking about how John Blow is a crooked piece of shit and blah, 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 blah. And I had to just kind of stop him and be like, I don't know where you're getting this information, but it's completely incorrect. Like, he wasn't even a judge on the things that you're talking about. And I also know the things that he voted for, so I know you're incorrect because I was also a judge during that year. It was just funny stuff. Like, everybody's got a lot of information, and most of it's misinformation, and no one fact checks anything.
He's a good dude who cares about only putting out the best fucking thing that he can.
Yeah.
He gives a shit, and that's what people don't like, is the fact that he's a guy who gives a shit about putting out good products.
It's true. Like, he's a very respectable guy. I can understand how his assertiveness and how he stands by what he believes could rub people the wrong way and thinking that he's just being arrogant. But the guy just fucking knows his shit. He's been around for a long time. Like, he really knows what he's talking about. And he doesn't apologize or sugarcoat what he's saying. Yeah, John Blow's living endless mode.
I can imagine that, actually.
But he's also a really gentle, nice dude who
will fucking kill you.
Who will kill you. He's just super interesting, you know, outside of game development. He leads an interesting life, and it's very respectable. But what are they saying about John?
We've only had one guy talking shit, and I think he's since talking shit about him.
But they're obviously actually talking about Phil. So what's the question?
Yeah. Everybody, I think everybody needs to hear it from your. You're out. Okay. I've talked to Phil personally before on quite a few occasions, and he has been the nicest fucking dude to me. So. Yeah. He's a great guy. He's not really the asshole that you guys think he is. And for thinking something so negative about a person before you actually know them is pretty fucked up. But
of course.
Then again, welcome to video games.
Yeah, no, like, Phil... It's funny how the movie works, okay? So, like, in a lot of ways, our characters are exaggerated caricatures of who we are. Like, they're cartoon versions of who we are. I just happen to be the nice version. So I'm like the overly nice, I don't know what, genital giant, they call me.
Yeah.
I'm the gentle giant of the bunch. And I was fucking losing my mind. And when I lose my mind, that's how I get. Like, I try my best to just stand in the middle and take a punch, you know, and then put a smile on my face and laugh it off because we were getting fucked the whole time. And, like, it got so absurd and it was so stressful that it was amusing. It was so difficult. Like, I'm not going to be the guy who is going to let the camera come into me and Danielle's bedroom and then film me crying to her because I feel like I'm going to let our whole family down when I fail. You know, like, there's a lot of shit that you didn't see and a lot of shit that was cut that simply didn't fit my character at the time. And the same goes for everybody else in the movie. But for the most part, Phil runs hot. That's part of who he is. It's part of his charm. Like, the guy has extreme views, and he's pretty funny. I think a lot of people don't realize when he's joking. And I also think that when he is joking, he likes to let people think he's not.
Yes.
And he's amused by the controversy. and then get swept up in it and then gets pissed off when it goes haywire. But yeah, like even the stuff with like the Japanese gamer or the Japanese developer thing, that, like I was sitting right by him when that happened, and I thought it was absurdly funny of how just off color it was. And I don't think he was trying to hurt anybody's feelings, but I think he was getting a laugh and going with it. And I think that's kind of how it's been the whole time. But yeah, no, it's just how Phil is. He runs hot. I mean, he's a French Canadian.
He's a mad fucking genius.
It'll be nice if he does something else. I haven't talked to the guy in a while. I have no idea what he's doing. But yeah, I mean, I was in the same boat with everybody else. I remember when I first heard about him, it was like, I remember thinking, how is this guy getting all this press? Why do people care so much about him? And why am I sitting on my hands doing nothing? Like, why am I struggling here when it seems so easy for this guy? But I think he burns strong and he's burning out, if that makes sense. Like, he's a fucking comet. And he fizzled. He exploded. Self-destruct.
He's fun to watch though. Anytime he goes to the Giant Bomb offices and they have a camera on him, he is absolutely hilarious to watch.
Yeah, he's a fun guy to be around. He's a funny guy. Also a lot taller than you would think he is.
Oh God, I know.
We make a lot of jokes about him being short because he looks like he's little. Because he looks like kind of like he has child proportions because his head looks so giant compared to his body. But really, I think he's like an inch shorter than me. So he's probably almost like 6 feet. He's a tall guy.
Yeah, and for anybody that hasn't watched the commentary with Ed and Tommy on Indie Game the Movie, do it, because it is literally the funniest thing in the world. There is nothing in this world funnier than the commentary of Ed and Tommy talking about the movie.
I've been trying to get Lisanne and Jamie to release the uncensored commentary of the bonus disc or whatever. Because I don't know if you heard that. We did commentary for that as well, but we kind of like had to outdo ourselves, and in doing so, we ended up getting chopped the fuck up. Like, so much stuff that we said just got removed that we thought was pretty funny, and in hindsight, probably would have gotten us in a lot of trouble on a lot of different websites these days.
Well, you guys were talking about how much money certain things made, and they had to censor all of that out as well, which was really funny to me.
We were just lying about a lot of stuff.
I know, it was so good, though.
I thought it was apparent that we were lying, but they kind of informed us that they believed that people wouldn't understand that we were joking. People don't even think jokes are jokes anymore, so they were probably correct. They probably saved us a lot of like heartache, but people don't like jokes anymore.
Seems to be the case, and it makes me really sad, considering when you have this huge group of game developers out there that like to joke about things and be funny. People have to take it serious and be like, well, these guys are racists. And it's like, they didn't say anything about races.
It's pretty bizarre to be working in a toy where we make toys.
Yes.
We make toys, and we can't joke about them, and we have to be very serious.
People forget one of the two words in the word video game. Or video games, the two words video games. They forget games. What do you do with games? You play. You tell a child to go outside and play. It's a fucking toy. Like, sure, it's a toy that can bring people a lot of money, and even just being a streamer, there's a lot of streamers out there that make a lot of money from playing your toy for other people. Fuck, I play your toy for other people. But it's one of those things that people forget that it's a game. It doesn't have to be taken seriously all the fucking time.
You know what's good, though, is if you don't look at it, then it is not as apparent. Like, I've said before that, like, I feel like I don't really get much shit these days, but the honest truth is I don't know if I do because I don't look. I don't know. Like, don't know, don't care, and I don't address it for the most part. I'm positive that when Fingered comes out, there's going to be people who are going to say whatever they want to say about it and think whatever they want to think, but stand by what I do. And if you can't put if you can't put me into the context of what I'm doing, or if you can't see what satire is, or understand what a joke is, or understand what I'm saying in any way, shape, or form, then I don't really care what you think, because I didn't really make it for you. So I fuck off. I'll have to jump on Twitter and tell everybody to choke on my dick full of fill.
Hashtag that.
Yeah.
It's the only way that you can Twitter properly. You have to hashtag everything. So, I usually end this off in asking you advice, or anybody advice on how to get into the games industry. But I have to ask you one more thing first that I never had any intention of asking you, but I feel like is a necessity. And hopefully it'll make people jump on the YouTubes. Can we ever get a DVD release of your best, worst interviews ever?
I don't know what the legalities of that would be.
It
would be nice. I remember thinking that some of the really, really bad ones were so great, and I don't even know where they are at this point, but we had some gems back in the day, and
fucking A.
I definitely missed that.
I kind of wanted to give you a really bad interview so you would call Tommy and we could have Tommy fake cry again. But
well, what we can do is once Meat Boy's out, we can get Tommy in here, and you can just, I won't tell him, and you can just be a horrible interviewer, and then we'll go off on you.
Who's to say I'm not already a horrible interviewer?
Got me there.
Yeah. All right, so the last thing I always end off on with every game developer I talk to now, and this is like thanks to Dennis Whedon and Nigel Lowry from Devolver Digital. What do you think that people should do to get into the games industry? What would be the best path to take? And when I say the games industry, I mean any form of it, whether it be becoming a reviewer that becomes really jaded and hates everything like I did at one point in time, or, becoming a PR guy like I ended up being, or becoming a game developer.
I think if your goal is to work on games or work with games or work alongside games, there's a high probability that you're already doing it. And if you're like, 26 to 30 years old and you're like, hey, I think I want to work in games, and you have absolutely no experience at all in the past, or anything has pushed you towards that in any way, I don't recommend you do it, because it's kind of one of those things where you will already be in it. Like if you're past the college point or whatever, and you're like, I don't like working where I work, I think I'm going to make games, or I saw Indie the movie and now I want to make games. Unless you are a creative person that has been doing these things or something like them in your own time, I don't recommend it. But then again, you could work in the industry. I don't know anything about the actual industry when it comes to, getting hired at a place and working in an office. That's a completely different story. I can really only speak towards independent art type situations. But yeah, I feel like you already know. I feel like you already know the answer. If that's something that you really want to do, you would already have been kind of doing it in some way, shape, or form.
Excellent.
Which is it's kind of a depressing answer for a few people, I guess. But it's a real answer. Like I've had a lot of people come up to me and they're like, hey, I saw Indie the movie and I quit my job and I have 2 kids and a wife. And it's like, well, you're 35 years old and what are you doing?
Did they not see how poor you were in that movie? Like, and how much you were struggling to do anything, and how emaciated Tommy was?
Yeah, obviously they need the high definition version for Tommy. See the veins, but no, yeah, I can only recommend getting into art, just in general. Making art is fan-fucking-tastic. It makes you feel really good. Inside, it's just, I guess it's the closest thing that I can have to a religion, right? It cleanses my soul. It makes me feel like I'm worth something. It makes me have a voice, and I think it can do that for a lot of people. And I think it's a very important thing for people to have as a means of expression. And I chose video games in order to do it. And there's a probability that there's other artists out there who want to do the same thing. But I would recommend getting anybody into some form of art, even if it doesn't make you money. If it's just something that you do as a hobby, it's a freeing thing, and it's really fun to do, and it's a, I guess, a blessing if you can do something that you have fun doing that makes you feel good, that also makes you money, which is, I'm pretty happy where I'm at, and it'd be nice if everybody could, have this kind of experience too. But keep in mind that I did this for a really long time. It took 10 years to get to Meat Boy time, and there was a lot of struggle going into it. If you're down with the struggle and you've got the time and effort and the drive, then fucking go for it. But I more recommend having fun and enjoying your time, and enjoying making art and expressing yourself, and not so much focused on breaking into an industry and making some money, or making a name for yourself and having something to say and whatever else. Like, it's kind of, like what you're doing. Like, it's like, obviously you enjoy this, obviously you enjoy being a personality like you are here, and that is an art. Like, being able to speak to people like this is an art. Having a conversation is an art form, and expressing yourself, making jokes, whatever else. It's all forms of entertainment and art. And I would want everybody to move towards it. It feels a lot better. It feels a lot better than just slaving away at some crappy job or complaining about bullshit on the internet.
So, would you be willing to take a couple of questions from the chat? If
Sure.
you have time for it. Okay, first of all, from my chat, can I buy it in the shop?
Yeah, the shop. Yeah, you could. You could have if you bought it in the shop back when that video went up. The shop's not up anymore.
I know, that makes me sad. What's going on with that?
Well, the shop was one of the reasons. That was one of the what would be the best word for it? That was one of the straws that broke the camel's back. The shop was kind of crushing us, and when I say us, I mean Danielle. It was too much for her to deal with, and it got shut down in the midst of all the insanity, and I don't see it opening up for a while, especially since the baby's coming. Maybe one day we'll figure out a way to have somebody else man our shop, and just send all the shit that we have in our garage that existed from the shop. And then you guys can purchase it. There's still quite a few, like maybe 200 tarot card boxes that are still available that I know a lot of people really want, but it's not realistic for us to be able to do this right now with the baby and everything. So
understandable. I just want to buy. I want to buy one of those spewers that you have. That's what I want.
There's only 2 spewers that exist, and they're mine.
I know, and that's what sucks. I want to buy one. I don't care what the price is. I want to buy it.
Well, good luck.
I will sell my soul to you. All right. The thing I'm being told to ask you about is multiplayer. Nobody's really spelling anything out. They just say multiplayer. Yes, yes. Ask about multiplayer. Yes, yes, yes. Multiplayer.
There's not going to be online multiplayer for Isaac. It's just not. It's not realistic for us to spend Would you rather have multiplayer in Isaac in a new expansion, or would you rather have Nicholas work with me on a sequel that might have multiplayer? It's just not going to happen. It's not realistic. It's not going to add enough. It doesn't make sense because it's just not going to be as fun because I didn't design the game with multiplayer in mind. If I design a game with multiplayer in mind, then it'll make perfect sense. It's just not. It's another one of those, you guys think you want it, but you don't. It's really not going to be great. It's not going to be worth it.
I agree with you. I've never been high on that idea, really. Ask Edmund if the secret Afterbirth update pictures, money, greed, etc., are to do with the new game mode.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Ask him about the loss not unlocking on the Nintendo 3DS.
If that's an issue, definitely make sure Nicholas knows about it so they can include it in the patch, because they have it. They have the graphics issues patched and kind of ready to go. So make sure that they know about it if it's something that's true, and they'll patch it. Is
there development in Ether, as you mentioned a fun fact in the basement collection? I don't know what that means exactly.
Can't talk about that.
Ooh. Was Dingle created specifically to ruin my friend Travis's run? Travis, what the fuck?
I think Dingle is much harder than Haunt. Everybody complains about the Haunt. I think Dingle is far. I actually have more trouble with Pin than the Haunt. People like to complain about how hard the Haunt is, but yeah, no, Dingle's way harder. So yeah, I agree. That's life is hard, man.
Will we have to do more lost runs in Afterbirth? I don't know.
Yes,
why.
of course you will.
I mean, I don't. Never mind. I'm not gonna. Not going there. Have you all? What the fuck? Have you always had that sexy voice?
No, I got this from a cold.
What is the game you were most proud of?
I think at this point I'm most proud of Rebirth, which is interesting because it's the one that I kind of worked on the least. But I'm very proud of the fact that it's on all consoles. I'm very proud that it came out on 3DS. I'm very proud of it's a big achievement to re-release something only a few years after it came out and have everybody universally praise it in every way for all of its upgrades. And I spent a lot of time making sure that the design worked perfectly and that they did such a good job. And I'm very proud of it. It's a good game, and I can stand by it. And it's nice to be able to say that because I couldn't necessarily say that at all about the Flash version. Yeah.
What is the most challenging thing about game design? That is a good question, actually. A very good question.
I don't know. It is a good question. It's a difficult question. The hardest thing about game design. Yeah, Danielle says the hardest thing for me about game design is that I'll forget where I put my sketchbook. I can't find a pen. That's a good one.
I can go back to one of your old answers.
About game design is not having enough time or people to help create the things that I want to make. I sometimes, I guess that's it's definitely not the answer you're probably looking for. But for me, the hardest thing about being a game designer is the fact that I really wish I was a different type of artist, because I feel like if I was a musician, I could sit down and write a song in a day and be like, and polish it up and be like, wow, I've created something today. When you're making a video game, it takes fucking forever, and it's really hard to see the end sometimes, and it's really hard to have it all encompassed in a package in a way. Things get really complicated, and you have to intertwine things in order for it to really feel like a fleshed out theme and design. It's not to say that it's difficult. It's not difficult. It's very fun, but I wish that I could just get on stage. You know what I mean? I wish I could just do a painting and have that fulfill me in the way that making a video game does. I miss the cheap fix, like the instant gratification of creating art. And it sucks that it takes so long to make a video game because you don't have that. You don't have that instant gratification or expression that you would in any other art form. But, it's also one of the most complicated art forms, so it comes with it. So,
all right. 2 last questions that I will take here, which I'm getting a lot of them, so my ADHD is going fucking nuts. Will Afterbirth be harder?
Yeah. Afterbirth, the new alt chapters in Afterbirth make the game a little bit harder. Of course, it's going to be harder when there's new bosses and stuff that you don't know their patterns. I can say without spoiling too much that the Mega Satan fight will be a requirement that you get rewards for, so that's harder, right? Like,
nice. Oh, that makes me happy.
Yeah. So, yes, it will be a little harder, but not crushingly so.
Last fan question I will ask you. Do you like pina coladas and getting lost in the rain? And that is thanks to C-Jack.
Oh, well, that was great. That was a fantastic one to end on there.
I guess.
I do not drink. So I'm going to give a very unfunny answer to a not funny question.
Thank you. I just had to call him out on that one. All right. Everybody can follow Ed on his Twitter, which is at Edmund McMillen with an extra N on the end.
Yeah, of course.
For those of you asking questions about all these different aspects that have already been answered on a multitude of occasions, you can go to thebindingofisaac.com and find a lot of this information that you want to know. Follow that thing religiously as I do. And anything else you would like plugged? Prepare to get fingered, everybody, in a couple of weeks. I can't wait to get fingered.
James is working on a trailer. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, yes. More trailers for Edmund games. I'm stoked about this. I hope it's as good as Mugenics' trailer.
It's going to be the greatest thing ever, and Fingered is going to be better than everything that I've ever made.
Yes.
Hype it up.
Okay.
Tell your friends, man.
Everybody, you're going to get fingered to death, and it's going to be good.
Every kid on the block is going to be getting fingered. And they're going to be like, this is the greatest experience of my life.
Excellent. I guess for those of you tuning in, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Indieluchador. Prepare to get nothing on your feed because I don't really get to say much until our project gets closer to having more on it. And I don't tell anybody to follow because you'll follow if you want to and you won't if you won't. So do your thing, everybody. But thank you very much, Ed, for joining me for this. You were my first interview of all time and my first ever live interview. And that means more than I can ever put into words. So seriously, thank you. And thanks to Danielle as well, who it sounds like went away to sit somewhere else.
She's laying down behind me.
Oh, well.
It's easier.
I gave up.
She gave up. She's laying down.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Danielle.
The baby is killing her right now.
Well, I can't wait until you guys have that baby. I think it'll be the best thing that you've ever produced.
I have a feeling you're right.
You're going to be a hell of a dad, Ed. You're going to be.
I can't wait for the reviews.
Hey, I'm the one doing all the crunch work here.
I already hear that there's a Polygon review of your kid out, and it says 6 out of 10 graphics.
Not as good as everybody says it is.
Yeah. Not as good as everybody says it is, and the graphics should be better on release.
Should have been a boy. Should have had far more power.
Should have been a boy who identifies as a girl.
Should have been a lot of things.
That's a good point.
Hope she's not a cop, right?
Well, right. Well, thank you. I will officially let you guys get back to your life and continue creating great things for everybody to freak out over, as I have.
Thank you.
You take care, sir. And to everybody, thank you for showing up, and hopefully you guys enjoyed what you got there, because I sure as fuck did.